Good morning. Our affirmation this morning is, in all things, be grateful. Can you affirm that with me? In all things, be grateful. And so we take that thought of gratefulness in all things, and we bring that down into our heart space as we turn within for prayer. And we are grateful this morning for the sun that came up, for the building to worship in, for the technology that has created growth opportunities this morning for all of the staff. We are grateful for those who have supported this ministry in the past, those whose shoulders we are standing upon as we walk our spiritual path. We're grateful for those who are on the path with us. And we hold in love and light those who are experiencing challenges with health, with finances, with relationships, those who have big decisions they're holding in their heart, those who are experiencing grief. And we just hold that space for love and light to move through, knowing they are divinely guided and divinely supported in all of their words, their thoughts, and their actions. And we are grateful for our spiritual community, this local one, the Greater Unity Movement, and all of those who we have been making connections with over the years. Those in the church around the corner, those in the churches down the street. We are grateful for the interfaith community in this part of town, as we all hold love and light for each other, and so it is. Amen. So welcome to Unity of Mesa, where we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift our world through a greater expression of God. I hope those of you at home were able to find last Sunday's service on YouTube, and we apologize for the delay. Our streaming service decided not to work last week, but as you might have noticed, our backup system did, and we are glad that you are here today. And those of you in the seats and those of you who are enjoying us from the comforts of your living room sofa, in your pajamas possibly. So thank you for being here this morning, and we hope that you have made plans to join us in the annual meeting right after church today. I am Reverend Judy Hildebrand. Julie Treglon, our new Youth and Family Ministry Coordinator, is our platform leader and will be our meditation leader this morning. Kenya Cribb is our board member of the day. We have a guest speaker today, a longtime congregant, Candee Lewis, and we have the delightful Cerise Patron back from Peru and ready to sing to us. And so we invite her up to the stage.
Thank you for having me here. So in light of all of the beautiful growth opportunities that the sound system has been providing today, I changed my first song to one that I wrote about living in the flow. So I invite you just to feel into that with me. I am living in the flow. I am living in the flow. All my good is coming to me now. I am living in the flow. I am one with everything. I am one with everything. I'm excited for what life will bring. I am one with everything. I'm connected to my source. I'm connected to my source. I am grateful my whole life song calls. I'm connected to my source. I am living in the flow. I am living in the flow. All my good is coming to me now. All my good is right here with me now. 'Cause I am living in the flow.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know about you, but I just felt changed partway through that song. I could just feel, yes, thank you so much. We all felt it. It was so beautiful and so needed. For me, at least, it was beautiful. So thank you, technology, for not quite working the way we want it to sometimes. So I have a few things to announce for you today. First, our drumming circle has been cancelled, and Reverend Judy has a brief announcement for us.
So I'm going to talk just for a moment about the class that Dennis is doing and want to explain a little bit about it. I did in the ramblings, but wanted to make sure I hit everybody. We at this community have always had an interest in promoting leadership into the unity movement and growth. And that means producing spiritual leaders. So part of that journey is the Licensed Unity Teacher Path. And we have Dennis on it. We have John Groves is on it. Julie will be stepping into it this spring. And within that training, which is after they do all these SEE classes, they then have to do an intensive year. And within that, they have things they have to do, assignments, and it includes teaching classes. So This is one of Dennis's classes that he needs to teach, and he needs students. And I remember teaching my first classes, and there were only a couple people in them, but they got so much out of it because they were questioning me. And in that questioning, they found answers for themselves. So if you have time and would like to explore, this is a great opportunity to look at Unity Basics and how it can fit in with your life. And so he's working with Quest for Wholeness, which is about healing. The book is in the bookstore, and I invite you to sign up. It's an online class, so you can do it from the comfort of your home. And there'll be more of those coming up with the other two also. Bye.
Okay, so the next announcement, we all have the hope and vision for living our best life, but do we have that same hope and vision for dying a good death? Join Gretchen Bickert, hospice and grief supporter, and sound and energy practitioner Sunny O'Rourke, death doula in training, for Let's Talk About Death, taking the end-of-life discussion out of the coffin and into the conversation. This workshop is the afternoon of December 2nd. Then on December 4th, Gretchen will join Reverend Judy for Healing Our Grief. This healing workshop is for anyone who has lost a dear one, including a long-time pet, and is still struggling with grief. Christmas Eve and decorating. Join Laurie after the service next Sunday to get the church ready for Christmas. Yes, it's time to deck the halls. Sign up with Nancy or email Laurie at unityofmesa.org. And speaking of Christmas, we are determining how many candlelight services we will have this year. A survey was sent out in the weekly email blast last Wednesday. Please fill out this quick survey so we may have set times for you next Sunday. And like last year, for those who will watch from home, you can stop by and pick up your bag of goodies, which will include candles, a white stone, and paper for the burning bowl service. The holiday celebration bag drive-through or pickup will be Sunday, December 12, and Thursday, December 16. And finally, don't forget this afternoon at 12:15, it's the virtual annual meeting. This important meeting will update you on everything from church finances, where we've been and where we are going as a church, plus an update from Reverend Kathy and the ministerial search team. Members will vote on our next 2 board members. Don't miss it. But this online meeting has a sign-up deadline, and that deadline is in just a few minutes. Please register by 11 today. You can find registration for today's annual meeting and all our other event and class details, dates, times, registrations, and more on our Things for You to Know page at unityofmesa.org. Registration for Sangha 2 and the workshops are also available in our bookstore. Thank you all for sharing your love and light with us this morning. Please know that your soul is welcome here. And now let's share our guiding statement to remind us why we come together. Say with me. We are here to experience more of the fullness of who we truly are in order to transform the world. All are welcome here. Okay, so now let's transition to our time of meditation. Thankfulness, gratitude, appreciation. These words have the power to attract and to magnify. Meister Eckhart was a German mystic, theologian, philosopher. He's been called many things, and he lived in the 13th century. His teachings have become quite popular in our time. His main theme was the reality of the presence of God in the individual soul. And if that's not a unity teaching, I don't know what is. He's quoted as saying, "If the only prayer you ever say in your life is thank you, it will be enough." And I'll repeat that because I think it bears repeating. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. So to prepare for our silent meditation, I invite you to get comfortable in your seat. Close your eyes if you wish. Inhale deeply. And exhale, letting go of any tension in mind or in body. Now, if you would, think of something you really, really enjoy doing. Maybe a hobby, being somewhere beautiful in nature, or eating a certain kind of really delicious food. Use your internal senses to imagine yourself seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling, hearing. Then connect that experience to your sense of gratitude for it. Gratitude for this experience of enjoyment, of doing what you love to do. Now go deeper into your heart center and become aware of something or someone you love, where your heart was touched in a meaningful way. Perhaps a pet, a family member, a mentor or teacher, or a friend. And spend a moment or two in the energy of gratitude for that person or that thing, that whatever it was that caused you to truly connect with love. Connect with that energy of gratitude, appreciation, thankful for this experience of love. Now, as we go into our time of silent meditation, we affirm that because of the divine within, we embody thankfulness, we embody gratitude, we embody appreciation. We affirm, I am thankful, I am thankfulness, and simply be aware of the consciousness of gratitude within. Let's now close our time in the silence, opening our eyes, moving hands and feet a little, and returning our attention to what's happening in the here and now. Thank you, Spirit, that we can find what we need as we go within. Thank you, Spirit, for thankfulness.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all I receive. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Well, good morning, everybody. Yes, I have some show and tell items in case I forget why I'm here today. But the first thing I want to say that I am so grateful for is Cerise Patron and her beautiful voice. Thank you. So, when I shared with Reverend Judy that I would be willing to speak one Sunday, I had no idea what the topic would be. But of course, the universe knew exactly what it was doing and sent me the very thing that I've been wrestling with even before the isolation of COVID and loss of work and income. The topic, as you all know, is gratitude, being grateful. I am grateful. It even feels good to say that. I am grateful. Gratitude. It's a word we hear a lot, but what does it mean? Webster's dictionary, yes, some of us still refer to Webster's and not just Google. Webster's defines gratitude as a feeling of appreciation or thanks, and the word grateful as, this is a big one for me, appreciative of benefits received. Last week we heard Reverend Judy speak about gratitude as a memory stored in the heart. She told us that gratitude practice helps us in spotting grace even in the direst of circumstances. Gratitude builds on itself. One moment of gratitude leads to another. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. Chances are pretty good that I may not say anything this morning that you don't already know about gratitude, that you haven't even heard before. But I can share some of my stories and what has helped and what has hindered me on my journey. Reverend Judy spoke about the seesaw of gratitude, thoughts going one way or the other. Where our intention goes, energy flows. And I'm going to share some tools or ideas for working with that kind of thing. You may have already heard of these two. Being grateful, keeping an eye on your focus, and allowing for the law of attraction go hand in hand. I love so many of the things that Esther Hicks and Abraham have to tell us about why we're here and how to deal with life while we are here. They've provided a couple of my favorite tools or different ways of looking at things. They often say, you're looking in the wrong direction. We've all done this at one time or another. As an example, one of my biggest issues has always been finances. Oh, I always pay my bills, and somehow I've always addressed big things like vet bills and so forth, because I've had a lot of animals. But drawing in decent amounts of money on a regular basis, having savings and keeping that abundance flowing has been tricky for me. Often I'll find myself so focused on the lack, what I don't have, how it isn't flowing to me, that guess what? It doesn't flow to me. Now, if I look the other way, focusing my attention on all of the wonderful things that I do have in my life, including this congregation, and allow for more of that kind of thing to come to me, things begin to flow in a different direction. It sounds so simple, and yet it always works. Again, where our intention goes, energy flows. I think, oh, I can remember now. And sometimes we think we're asking for something and yet are still focusing on the lack of it. I've really had to catch myself with that one. I heard a wonderful quote years ago that was very powerful for me. I love visuals. This one gave me a good one. Are you praying to receive with your fists closed? Bingo. I could see myself praying fervently, yet not with my palms open to receive. I could just feel my angels almost tapping their toes, saying, there she goes again. Have we not shown her that we can't plop anything into those tight little fists of hers? My angels have a very good sense of humor and a lot of patience, thank goodness. And they've always slipped things into whatever little openings I give them. They're really good at that. They've had a lot of practice with me. Abraham also asks, why spend so much time paddling upstream when you can turn your canoe around and flow easily downstream? They know these things don't feel that simple to us, and yet when they put it that way. So far, we have looking in the other direction, focusing on what we're grateful for, praying with open hands to receive our good, and paddling downstream. Now, here's something else that I know you've all heard of, and probably many of you already do it, and that is keeping a gratitude journal. I've always heard the suggestion to write down 4 or 5 things, either in the morning when you wake up or at night before you go to bed, that you're grateful for. I have to tell you that during COVID times, I started keeping one, but since I find myself at home a lot, I add things to it throughout the day. Maybe it has to do with my age, but I don't want to forget things. Because it really helps me to be reminded of how much good is in my life. Anything from something small like enjoying a nice shower or a cup of coffee or sharing moments with my wildly independent cat, to bigger things like having just the right amount for car repairs, owning my sweet townhome, or being gifted with a trip to Hawaii. More on that in a moment. Now, here is my current gratitude journal. Show and tell, old-fashioned way. Another thing to be grateful for. Friends and family know I love journals and love to gift me with them. You are here. It helps remind me to be in the present whenever I can, which is not always that often, but, and you can see there are days when I'll have 20 or more things listed. Yeah. And repeating things is totally okay. Now, I used to think I couldn't do that, like say some of the same things every day. But for example, there's a new kid in town, a 6-month-old puppy named Callie, who passes my door several times a day with her new dad, a neighbor I've known since I first moved to the property 25 years ago. I live in a townhome on a property filled with beautiful, large, old trees and several green belts. We've all walked ourselves and our dogs on the property for years. My cats have always been indoor, outdoor, and with the one remaining one I have, since I'm home so much, I leave the front door and screen door ajar so he can come and go that way, as well as through the pet door and back. Mind you, the house is not that big and it's a short journey from the back pet door to the front, but if it makes life easier, okay. But the benefit for me is it allows for visitors throughout the day. We're on the end of a unit and right on the edge of one of the green belts. Callie, the aforementioned puppy, comes around the corner and looks for me, waiting for me to come out and give her love. This fills my heart with joy. I was listing each of these stops in my journal, but now I got smart. I enter it once and I make a little mark each time they come. And sometimes it's 5 times a day. And the 3 of us just love it. And we never get tired of it. And every now and then along comes Bambi, the dainty old Chihuahua miniature greyhound mix, and her mom, who also visit. Little old Bambi trots in, whoops, so gracefully. I wish you all could see her, just a little. And she does what I call home inspections for me. She goes through the house and then we can visit. Again, my day is brighter. And there's Austin and his pack of 3 dogs. You get the picture. I keep that door open and love flows to me and gratitude for that flows too. One of the things about the gratitude journal that's really good for me is that only the good stuff goes in there. No whining. No, this happened and it was so frustrating, but then this good thing came out of it. No, only the good thing. Talk about shifting your focus. That's really helped me. Now, even with all of these practices, I still find myself coming back to wrapping myself in a blanket of fear, especially about finances and work or career, and how I still play the old recording that says, I can't make a living by doing something creative in the arts. A blanket of fear. A bit of an oxymoron, don't you think? Since aren't blankets supposed to make you feel cozy and warm, not tremble in fear? I said this to my younger sister, who's so good about pointing me in the right direction, and she said, stop squeezing the space where the money wants to flow in. Trish Hall says, we must release attachment to how it's always been and instead focus on how we want it to appear. We must ready ourselves so that divine possibility can have its way with us. I love that. So that divine possibility can have its way with us. I'm going to use that one. I just found it recently and I thought, that feels good. I love having tools or practices like all of these. Talking about them in general terms is great, but I know that I always relate to examples of how people actually use them and what results they experienced. So I'm going to share some examples from my own life with you today. Now, don't worry, I'm not going back to the year I was born. No. For the first story, only 25 years back to the time I purchased my townhome. I'd been living in a rental home with a roommate. She moved, and I needed to find a place to live. I always had several animals, which wasn't something landlords were overly fond of, and I wanted to have my own home. But how could this happen when I was working as a nanny for $6 an hour? A friend connected me with a wonderful realtor who gave me the same attention that she gave her $1 million customers. First blessing. Needless to say, I was stressed. I wanted a home so badly, but had trouble believing I could have or even deserved one. I had a little blue beloved wall plate from a shop in Payson that I loved and that represented what I wanted and thought I might have. A little more show and tell here. I know you won't be able to see it, but I loved it. Always reminded me of Delft things from Holland. It's what it says on the plate is, as I was wandering o'er the green, not knowing where I went, by chance I saw a pleasant scene, the cottage of content. The cottage of content. I dreamed about it. I thought about it all day. At the time, I was reading Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi. Not having grown up with any particular religion, I'd never prayed for or asked for anyone's help in that way. I was really enjoying learning about him, and I felt really connected to him. He's got a great sense of humor, too. And one day I prayed, I thought, I'll try it. What what can it hurt? Yogananda, please help me find a home. After lots of searching and having to impress upon my realtor that I needed a little yard where I could have greenery and property where my animals would be safe, my younger sister suggested a place where a friend of hers used to live, blessing number 2. It was built in the 70s and had beautiful green belts, huge trees, 2 pools, and small yards for each home. We found one that was perfect, just under 800 square feet, including a red brick yard with 2 huge trees, one right in the middle, and room for many plants. But of course, I had to be approved by the bank. I went and looked at it every day, hoping it could be mine. I discovered one day that the person working with my loan was a man I had worked for as a temp a few years before. Blessing number 3. He went out of his way to make this happen. To make an already long story short, miraculously, it all went through and the home became my cottage of content. I still have that hanging by the back door, which is my main way of coming in. Through the whole process, I'd been dealing with the son-in-law of the owners who were out of the country. A couple of weeks after I moved in, I came across the title papers, which I had just set aside. I picked them up and read the second page. Deeded to Candee L. Lewis by Yogi P. Nanda. True. My knees literally buckled and I almost fell over. I said to a meditation friend, I don't know what the P stands for. He said, Candee, it's Paramahansa Yogananda. Now, you'd think this would have kept me aware of how things can work, but some of us are slow learners. So there was a time when I was really low again on funds and in spirit, and my ASU theater family stepped in. We all went to college together the first time around and have remained connected, often being more family than our own families. And they all helped, including a husband and wife who created the performing arts department at the Chandler Gilbert Community College, and who ended up eventually creating a part-time job for me there. Along with the job came the realization that I could perform in their shows, something I hadn't done in years. Being in that creative environment and working and playing with the wonderful young people there brought me back to life. I mentioned a trip to Hawaii earlier. We have a family friend, Rhonda, who's more like family and is currently living in Hawaii. Her father and my mother and father served in the Navy overseas in Hawaii during World War II. They became lifelong friends. Rhonda had the same wanderlust that my mother did, and they were always close. When Mom passed, I took on the care of Girlie, the dog I had helped her give a home to when the start of dementia kept her from traveling anymore. I always joked that Girlie was my sister. She had a lot of health issues, including a heart murmur, glaucoma, and diabetes. I had to test her blood sugar and give her shots 2 times a day. When she passed, I felt like I'd finally finished several years of being the responsible party, first for Mom, then Girlie, and I needed a break. But as usual, what could I do? How could I afford it? Well, I got a phone call from Rhonda. She said, I have a proposition for you. She knew I was pet sitting. She said, we're going on a trip and I have 2 elderly dogs, one of whom has cancer and needs a lot of care. Would you be willing to come here for 3 weeks? I'll pay your airfare and pay you for pet sitting, and anyone can come with you at their own expense. I was taking a directing class at the time at the college and said I probably couldn't do it. When I mentioned it at the college to another of my lifelong ASU theater friends, the scene designer, he said, you talk to the director of the program, the same person who was teaching my class. I did, and her response is, there is no way you are not going. And even though I was also worried about care for my own animals, I said yes. I could feel my mother and Girlie dog beaming away in spirit as if they had orchestrated the whole thing. My mother always wanted me to travel. She couldn't understand that I grew roots and didn't have that same wanderlust she did. But I told my sisters about this, and before we'd barely hung up, my younger sister and stepmom had tickets to come for 2 weeks. And my older sister booked a flight for 1 week. And another pet sitter and neighbors from my wonderful community said they'd take care of my babies. When I got there, Rhonda took me shopping for groceries and told me I'd have the use of her car. Without my younger sister and stepmom there, I probably would have hardly gone anywhere. But we got in the car every day and went exploring. We had such a good time when my older sister arrived too, especially as the four of us hadn't been together in several years and really never got to spend time like that. This was more magic in my life. Amazing. I wore this necklace today because it was a gift from Hawaii. My stepmother saw me eyeing it when we were on one of our excursions, and she said, "I'm going to buy it for you." I said, "No, it's too expensive." She said, "Candee, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here." So I'll share just a couple more experiences. My townhome is old and has some issues. And in my old scarcity mode, I thought I could never make needed repairs. There we go again, focusing this way and not this way. Well, sometimes if we have strong enough desires and we don't take care of things ourselves, the universe takes care of them for us, but not in a way we would have expected. One day when I was home, my water heater located in the middle of my home alongside the washer and dryer gave up the ghost and water began pouring out. I was able to stop things, but not before a lot of damage had been done. After I moved in, I could see that some kind of water damage had occurred that caused the wood under the kitchen sink to be warped. The flood this time had also damaged some of the bottom cabinets, and the cabinets were original, made of pressed board and not in the best shape. When the insurance adjuster came to assess the damage, he looked in the kitchen and said, "These were built-in cabinets. I think it would be less expensive to replace all the cabinets than to have this one rebuilt." "Oh, really?" I said as I attempted to keep myself from jumping up to the ceiling. He wrote up an estimate, and money was sent to me immediately, which I later learned rarely happens that quickly. There are many magical steps in this story. The cost was going to be slightly less than originally expected. And I asked the contractor if we could use the rest to replace a really sad French door that was my main entry to the house. Yes, of course. And that had been done when I first moved in. There was an Arcadia door that was in such bad shape. The track was horrible. I'm someone that always comes in and out carrying 95 things. Heaven forbid I make a few trips from the car so far away, not. And I would have to come with all these things and literally lift the door up and push it over. So I had someone come and replace it with a French door, a pet door, not what I had asked for. And it was never done properly. Water leaked in, a mess. So that's why I said, "Ooh, can we do this?" Through the whole process, although the contractor had one idea of how to do things, the subcontractor wanted to take good care of me and did excellent work, choosing the best quality materials and even replacing some rotted wood from the leaks over the old French doors. In the old cabinets, there was no place for a microwave. I always had one sitting on the counter. Not a lot of counter space in this kitchen. The subcontractor said that he had one that he could install and give to me for $150. As usual, I did not have anything extra, so I took a ring that I'd inherited and that I never wore to a pawn shop where they gave me, you guessed it, exactly $150. The subcontractor brought me a high-quality Arcadia door, a little more than the contractor had planned on, and a matching pet door. "You can't have a silver pet door with a white Arcadia door," he said. I also got the walls painted a lovely light blue before everything had been white. My sister always said to me, "You're so colorful. What are you doing in a house that's all white walls?" Well, here we go. When the renovation was done, a wonderful friend / pet sitting client came to see the renovation. Still in my kitchen were the original dishwasher and an old range. She said to me later, "I want to do something for you for Christmas, and you're going to say it's too much. I want to replace your range or dishwasher." I was going to replace my little toaster oven too. Now, I told her that was too much, but she bought me a new range, which matched the microwave oven and the old dishwasher. So here I was with my little toaster oven idea, but my older sister and brother-in-law said they wanted to get one for me. I said, "Okay, here's what I was going to get." And they said, "Well, this isn't good enough quality." And they proceeded to send me a much nicer one, which also went with the other new items in the kitchen. As if this all wasn't enough, I had the realization that in getting the beautiful new door and pet door, which allowed me to look out into my sweet little yard with its trees and all the plants I'd gathered over the years. I'm only sorry that I don't have a picture to show you. It's small, but it's filled with greenery and wonderful places for animals and for me. But it made me realize that another lifelong dream had been fulfilled. Even as a child, I had envisioned living in a home that felt like the indoors and outdoors were connected. Voila. That was a big one. And still, Candee has to be reminded on a daily basis about gratitude. And recently, again, worrying about things like finances and my lack of enough movement and exercise, I did a short Jason Stevenson manifesting and deserving abundance meditation before heading out for the day. If you haven't heard of him, I would highly recommend checking out his work. You can find him on YouTube. I use them to go to sleep because I'm one of those people that can't just lay there and go to sleep without help, and he does it. So that day, after I left the house, at the fitness center, I first found a penny on the ground. My grandmother used to send them to me all the time. And inside the center, I found a quarter. You do get what you allow for. We had a sub for my water aerobics class who proceeded to have us do intense aerobic movements for 30 minutes. And before the morning was over, I received 3 pet sitting requests and an email from a friend telling me she was recommending me for a paid acting job. I am definitely using that meditation again. Again and again, I have seen how being grateful provides for us in the best possible ways. We can always remember to ready ourselves so that divine possibility can have its way with us. And we can know that if we desire and believe, we will receive. And for all of you and the opportunity to share with you today, I am grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Candee, for that amazing message. It is definitely needed at this time, and it also helps me to say, I am so grateful. So thank you. We are the change agents of the world. Through our prayers, affirmations, being the light, and given from our abundance, we as a spiritual community committed to self-discovery and spiritual growth support the work of the greater good as we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift our world through a greater expression of God. There are many ways to financially support this spiritual community, indirectly through our Amazon affiliate website links, and adding Unity Church of the East Valley as your favorite charity on Smile Amazon and Fry's rewards, or directly using our Give Online link or Give Plus app, or through credit and debit card payments in the bookstore. All the information on how to give and more can be found on our website, unityofmesa.org. Now, please take your gifts in your hands. Holding our gifts in our hands, our hearts and our minds, we dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the greater expression of spirit through the work of this ministry. Let us affirm together our offering blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We give thanks for the givers and the gifts. Thank you, God.
Glory to God in the highest. Glory to all life in its many perfect forms. And I love the way each and every day comes to an end, and then it all begins again. Glory to the peace that enfolds us, ever rising up to spread across the world. And I'm grateful for this. Every mark that I miss will find a way, and it will be okay. 'Cause life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Glory to the truth that's within us. It's ever steady through the changing of the tides. And I'm grateful to know everywhere that I go, I'm not alone. I'm never alone. 'Cause life is beautiful. 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 Oh. Life is beautiful. It's so beautiful. Life is so beautiful. Life is beautiful.
Thank you. So, you know, it's amazing when, first of all, a singer can get back into the country 2 days ago and have her act together enough to come sing, and then to have her act together enough to be able to change all of her songs at the last minute and to give us such an amazing amazing experience. So we thank you, and we thank you for bringing your Peruvian energy in. She's been in Peru for 2 months now and has led 3 tours into sacred spaces in Peru. And if you've ever thought about Machu Picchu, she's leading the tours to that, and you start again in this late spring. And can you imagine going with a tour guide who's going to sing you to bed every night like this? So I think you can find Cerise on Facebook and connect with her if you've got any questions or interest. I think I'm signed up for May 22nd with her. So I'm excited. And today after service is our annual meeting, and it starts in 63 minutes. But if you have a few minutes to stick around, the garden's open and it's beautiful out there. The grass is green and it's amazingly beautiful out there. The family room also has new art pieces, and the bookstore has all Christmas items for 50% off. Chaplains are available for one-on-one prayer. I know we've got a couple, John's here, Sharon's here. Yeah, I see what they're still on. So please feel free to take this time to spend a few minutes with the chaplain, letting them pray with you, for you, whether it's for struggles or for joy and celebration. And let's close with our prayer for protection. I'm going to invite us to stand for this. Okay. And so the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And Cerise is going to lead us in the peace song if you'd like to join in.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and